Senior Day here in Oxford. 6 seniors being honored before the game, and what a great turnaround story it has been in their time here at Ole Miss. 22-6 on the season, but a big test here to close out the regular season for the Rebels. The #1 team in the country is in Oxford. The regular season champions, the #1 seed in this week's SEC tournament, the South Carolina Gamecocks. Here's how they stand in the top 7 right now. That's what the last day of the regular season is all about. Jockeying for position behind #1 South Carolina. We'll take you through it all day long here today. Great to have you with us. With Christy Thomas-Scuddy, I'm Eric Freed. This is a rematch. The first meeting this year in Columbia was one-sided. It was all South Carolina.
Well, South Carolina dominated the offensive glass, and so to have a chance today, the Rebels have to keep them off the glass. They have to try to force turnovers, and most importantly, Shakira Austin needs to stay on the floor.
It is a great matchup of two of the very best players in the country. Aliyah Boston, Shakira Austin. Let's start with Boston.
Well, Miss Double-Double, Aliyah Boston continues to be Miss Everything because of her versatility. That versatility has been on full display, and it's why she's one of the leading candidates for Player of the Year. She doesn't force the action. She takes what the defense gives her. She can go inside. She can go outside, but most of all, she is consistent for the Gamecocks.
20 straight double-doubles and counting, breaking the Silvia Fowles record in the victory against Texas A&M that clinched the #1 seed in the tournament for South Carolina on Thursday. And Shakira Austin has helped turn this program around and brought them up to new heights.
Well, she leads the team not only in points, rebounds, but also blocks. She's been the consistent one for the Rebels. Her versatility's been on full display as well because she can face up. If you crowd her, she'll take you off the bounce. She's so good on the glass, averaging 17 points a game over the last 5. She's been unstoppable.
And you see what she's done against nationally ranked teams. She tried to do a lot by herself in that first meeting with South Carolina back on January the 27th and ended up going 5 of 18 from the field. So Austin on the floor, one of those 6 seniors honored right before the game. The feeling we have is even though things are pretty set here in the SEC, these two teams are going to bring it here today. Let's see what happens. South Carolina with the opening tip in the first possession. Henderson, a little hesitation, finds a little opening, can't get it. Snuda Collins kept it alive on the glass for Ole Miss, and here come the Rebels. Their starting 5, led by Austin with LaShonda Monk, Mimi Reed. Snuda Collins is the shooter, and Madison Scott, the sophomore, does a little bit of everything for Ole Miss.
We'll expect changing up of the defenses by Ole Miss today, but most importantly, get comfortable on that couch because this is going to be an up and down tempo. Ole Miss knows they need pace today to have a chance in this game.
Saxton misses an easy one early. There's Monk on the pull-up for the game's first 2. Starting 5 for South Carolina, a familiar starting 5 with Cook, Henderson, Boston, Saxton, and Bree Beal.
And Eric, as always, when you play South Carolina, containing dribble penetration is key because when you get caught in rotations is when South Carolina just attacks the offensive glass.
There you see Yolette McPhee-McEwen in her 4th year now at Ole Miss. 2 years ago, 0-16 in the SEC. Now they've got a line on being the #4 seed in the tournament. There is Zion Cook getting South Carolina's first points. Monk on the drive, no. Cook with the rebound, and as Christy mentioned, these two teams want to push, want to run, and Beal's going to try a 3-pointer. Boston, offensive rebound. Shakira Austin held her ground. That's going to be really something to watch here. And something that was stressed by the Ole Miss coaching staff, do not foul. Do not give the officials a chance to blow a whistle here against South Carolina today.
Well, and it started with box out and don't give them the offensive rebound. So kudos to the Rebels that not only did they give up the offensive rebound, but they prevented South Carolina from scoring and did not foul.
Oh, you won't see that every day. LaShonda Monk with the blow-by. Beal outstanding defensively, and Monk gets to the hoop for 2.
Already, I see a much more solid LaShonda Monk in this game compared to the January meeting. I thought Monk was so sped up in that game, tried to be faster than South Carolina, and it hurt her offensive game.
Henderson knocks down the 2. Henderson had 17 points, was 8 of 11 from the field in the win against Texas A&M on Thursday. Good look for Madison Scott. Ole Miss has had plenty of good looks here in the early going. That one wouldn't drop, though. Anderson to Boston. Little hesitation, and it cost her. Austin hanging in there. Good help comes in from Mimi Reed to get the strip. Reed takes it at Henderson. Beal with the rebound.
Well, so far, I appreciate the officiating because they're letting it get physical on both sides of the floor.
Henderson couldn't get it. Knocked out of bounds by LaShonda Monk. It'll be South Carolina basketball. It feels like that first meeting between Dawn Staley's team, as you take a look at her, well, just a part of her resume, and Ole Miss, that game was over before it started. Ole Miss had just broken into the top 25. They went to play in Columbia. It was a game that was supposed to be UConn versus South Carolina. They mixed the schedule up a little bit, and Ole Miss was out of it very early in that game.
Well, I asked Coach O today, what did you learn from that first meeting? And she said, the mindset's so important, and beyond that, the approach, and then it's always got to be about the response when you play a team as good as South Carolina.
Caitlin McGee into the game for Ole Miss, along with Angel Baker. Here's Reed.
Well, we're almost 4 minutes into the game, and Austin has not even had a shot attempt yet.
Too strong from Baker, and into the hands of Boston. Zia Cook takes it right to the basket for 2. Good start for Zia Cook attacking the basket. She has struggled with her shot throughout the season and getting aggressive here early against Ole Miss.
And I like the fact that Ole Miss's perimeter players are trying to get involved in this game, but I believe Shakira Austin needs a touch. And beyond that, shot selection of the perimeter players is so important because, as we just saw, South Carolina would get outrun.
Angel Baker, after missing by a wide margin on her first shot, comes right back and knocks down her second field goal attempt. Henderson with the baseline drive, the kick out to Boston, who knocks it down for her first 2.
But that started with the dribble penetration. It forced rotations, forced Austin to drop low, leaving Boston open.
Senior Mimi Reed defended by senior Destiny Henderson. McGee. Here's Austin, and Saxton gets called for the foul before the shot. LaShonda Monk back into the game as Mimi Reed sits down. Austin's going to check out, and Iyanla Kitchens will come in. How is Ole Miss going to try to manage their minutes, their bench against the South Carolina team today?
I think we just saw it, knowing that under 5 media is coming up. Coach O gets Shakira Austin out just to give her a little bit extra time. And I just wrote the score down because I think it's key. What do the reserves do when Austin's on the floor to minimize South Carolina's strengths?
You can see South Carolina determined to get it down the floor quickly. Letitia Mehier into the game, got on the glass. Collins, a transition 3 is good. Snutta Collins, sophomore from Brookhaven, Mississippi. Leader in threes made and attempted. Buries the first to put Ole Miss in front by 1.
Well, Coach O told her today, and she turned, have your feet set. I think her feet were set at half court because she was ready to pull that one.
Yes, she had it ready to go. Waited till she got a little closer to the 3-point line. A foul is called on Kitchens. Get us to our first media timeout. As the teams huddle up here on senior night, 6 seniors honored before the game, as I mentioned a moment ago. And it really is, when you take a look at this group, where 0-16 a couple years ago for Ole Miss, and where they are now, you know, we're kind of scoreboard watching too. They could be the number 4 seed here as well. So it's exciting times, really. Well, we welcome those of you who watch Florida take on Missouri. Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Scuddy here courtside with you. Oxford, Mississippi, second meeting this season between South Carolina and Ole Miss. South Carolina, of course, the number one seed in the upcoming tournament, the regular season champions. Missouri knocks off Florida, so that means Ole Miss is locked in at number 4. They don't know that because this game tipped before that game ended. So Ole Miss is coming out here with one mindset, and really it's clear. They want to make amends for that first meeting this year between these two teams, which was all South Carolina right from the opening tip.
Well, you don't get the chance to beat the number one team every day. And so that's what's on the Ole Miss Rebels' mind right now. And for them, they know they've got to keep South Carolina off the glass. They need to try to force South Carolina into some turnovers, convert, and they got to keep Austin on the floor.
All right, we have our very best minds in the business, keeping an eye on how the tournament bracket is going to play out, but South Carolina is one. With the Florida loss, they'll be the 5 seed. Ole Miss will be the 4 seed, which is huge. Ole Miss will get a double bye. They won't play until Friday in the tournament. LSU and Tennessee with that showdown going on right now. We still have a lot of moving around the pieces below that top 4, and that's what we'll figure out here today. Charlie Cream has been burning the bracketology midnight oil. You had your daily check-in with Charlie. What did he tell you about how things will be impacted by the way things play out here today?
Well, he said for today's game, if Ole Miss wins, there's really nowhere for them to move up. But you got to think the longevity of this entire bracket, and so it only helps Ole Miss moving forward to get this upset here today.
All right, so here's what's happened in our game here so far. 4:46 to go in the first quarter. Ole Miss and South Carolina, they are looking to run. They are looking to push. These are two very good defensive teams. If they get a stop, they want to run the other way. We have seen that so far in the first 5 minutes.
Well, absolutely, and that was one thing Ole Miss talked about is we didn't have a chance offensively in the first meeting because of how many times we put South Carolina on the free throw line. We don't want to go against 5-on-5 in the half court. So far, they've had success getting it out quickly.
Dawn Staley's team has won 14 in a row, 26-1 on the season. Ole Miss 10-5 in the SEC. In a third-place tie as Coach Yo's team has won 4 in a row, coming off a victory at Auburn on Thursday by 20. They had a 19-0 run in the first half that set the tone. They held Auburn to 2 points in that opening quarter. Boston at the free throw line ties the game at 9. Angel Baker lost the handle into the hands of Henderson, and South Carolina on the run again. Henderson with the left hand in the finish.
It's so important for Ole Miss to make South Carolina have to score in the half court against the half court defense. Turnovers, bad shot selection only feeds into South Carolina's offense.
There's an unforced error right there, right through the hands of Kitchens. Ole Miss scrambling to get back on defense. Boston's got a mismatch with Baker. Send her into the post.
Ball's got to go up and in here. Boston should have been able to get the ball down the low block.
Henderson now finally fed into Boston. Is it too late? It is not. Never too late for Aliyah Boston, who gets the 2.
Kitchens tries to draw the foul with a flop. I love the no call because Boston literally went straight up to get those 2 points.
LaShonda Monk steps back and gets free. Good start for LaShonda Monk in this game. Comes out 3 of 4 from the field. And then the pass from Destiny Henderson is out of reach. Subs for both sides, including Shakira Austin coming back into the game.
Well, South Carolina finally reads the mismatch, and they get the ball from going over and in, and Boston gets it that deep. She's going to score.
So Austin had checked out right before the 5-minute media timeout. She comes in with a little more than 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Leading scorer for this team at nearly 15 points a game. Leading rebounder at 9 rebounds a game. Kicked by Ami here. Now, South Carolina is down one of their pieces. Camila Cardozo, the post who comes in off the bench, is out with an injury, not playing here today. So that's one less piece for South Carolina, but they still have plenty in reserve. Oh, good job by Cook. Reading the pass, taking it to the basket, and finishing. Zaya Cook has been very strong in the early going. Heading to the basket, she's got 6 to lead Carolina in scoring.
Eric, I want to go back to your missing piece analogy. I think opponents feel like this is a 1,000 puzzle piece when you face South Carolina because of the depth of the bench, the different ways that they can beat you, the versatility that's on full display offensively and defensively.
Both ends of the floor. Yeah, it's one of those 1,000-piece puzzles that, maybe you can figure out the 4 corners, but after that, it is a mess, and it's going to sit on the coffee table for about 2 months if you try to figure it out. That's how good South Carolina has been, as Christy mentioned, on both ends of the floor, all aspects. And really, when we asked Dawn Staley before the game today, well, what are you looking for to improve? What concerns you heading into March? Because this is it. This is the end of the regular season as Monk is off the mark and Boston's got it. And it really felt like she's afraid of the unknown. Could it be an injury or something that her team hasn't done so far this season? You know what Zia Cook's doing? Going off here in the first half. 8 points for Cook here in this opening quarter.
Well, and this is what we've just grown to expect from Zia Cook. Has had some offensive struggles at times, but the one thing is Dawn Staley has consistently encouraged her to keep hunting for her shots, and it's on full display because she's heating up like a microwave so far.
Got me here, getting help from Henderson. That left the shooter open, and Reed can't hit, and Ami here will put it on the floor. Ami here will go all the way to the basket, but missed the layup. Tap it out of bounds by Boston. It'll be Ole Miss ball.
Well, we talked about how fast South Carolina wants to play, and it's like show me ball, grab me ball, score me ball.
Dare I say, Zia Cook may have been looking at some of the old game films of her head coach on that little fake. And Dawn didn't play when there was film. It was still video. It's just a figure of speech, Dawn. You'll watch it back later on. Scott with the drive for the basket.
I'm defending Dawn Staley on that one. There was film then. Stop aging it, all of us.
Cook tried to get it into Lily Grissett.
Well, great response by Ole Miss. Madison Scott's just that energy player for South Carolina. Her head coach was on her today. You got to steal us some points. That time, set play, had the one-on-one, and she took advantage.
Back to our conversation with Dawn Staley about what concerns you, the unknown. Like, this team has been so good answering the bell game after game. It really treats it with a pro mindset as Baker knocks it down. The things that have improved, and we were reviewing that, turnovers are much improved for South Carolina. That was an area of concern in the weeks leading up to this final week of the season.
I mean, I can remember earlier in SEC play where they're averaging almost 17 turnovers a game, and their opponents were able to capitalize. In their last 4 games, Eric, only averaging 11 turnovers a game. Great job by the Gamecocks.
3 turnovers here in the first quarter for South Carolina.
And Eric, I want to talk about the turnover piece because when South Carolina gets a shot off, half the time they're getting their own offensive rebound, so that's why their ability to take care of the ball is so critical to their offensive success.
Cook on the pull-up. Can't get it. Ami here kept it alive, but it's pulled down by Scott. Chance here for Ole Miss to tie it in the final minute of the quarter. Baker will try to do it at the free throw line. She'll shoot 2.
One thing about Baker, when she comes on the floor, she is looking for her shot. We've seen that already with 5 shot attempts, just pushing the pace, pushing tempo.
So Zia Cook will check out for South Carolina. Ole Miss making a sub with Kitchens set to check in. And here is Angel Baker. Angel is a senior, but she was not honored before the game because she's already committed to coming back next year. This is her first year with Ole Miss after transferring in from Wright State. First team all-conference in the Horizon the last 2 years. She's been a good piece for this Ole Miss team, averaging double figures, 3rd on the team in scoring.
Well, this Ole Miss team has been about defense under Coach O's tutelage. And now you're seeing the scoring pieces, and this is why you're seeing the dramatic turnaround by this ball club.
I think it's a good turnaround for Baker as well because she did not score in 9 minutes of play as a blocking foul is called on Kitchens.
Well, Destiny Henderson's a one-woman press breaker here, takes it in, and good call by the officials. Kitchens was still sliding over in that moment.
say quite a few people in this building disagree with the call, led by the one you just saw on your screen. So Kitchens picks up the foul. That's her second. Mimi Reed will check out as LaShonda Monk will check back in. Madison Scott coming on for Ole Miss as Kitchens will go to the bench with the two personals.
And you're seeing Coach Joe's strategy already in this game. Near the timeouts, trying to get Madison Scott, trying to get Shakira Austin longer rest to try to keep them on the floor as long as possible through this game.
It appears they agree to disagree, just looking at that conversation.
And this is the genius of Dawn Staley. She wants to get Bill in, not only for the defense, but to have the stoppage of play so she can get her full court press set up so that Ole Miss couldn't just get it in quickly.
Sanaya Rivers also on the floor now for South Carolina. Bree Hall has checked in as well. Final 7 seconds of the first quarter. Here's Monk. Monk, tough shot, and a foul is called. The arm went up, but no. And the South Carolina bench is up pretty quickly here. And there is a call here. Let's see if we can get it straightened out. I'm going to go to the monitor here. So Monk is called for the foul, and I think they may check and see if there's going to be time added here at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, Eric, on LaShonda Monk's shot, the official waved basically a deflection, no foul on her shot, and then Monk went and purposely fouled, which I'm not sure why she was trying to do that.
So at the monitor here, and we will review as well. So here's Monk. That was deflected. Monk turned around, upset that she didn't get the call, and then Monk aggressively got there, and you could see just as the LED light came on.
But what we didn't see is when the official's arm was going up to signal the call. So that's what's still at play here.
Yep. I think that microphone was put up on the scores table a little late for the officials to see. Oh, here we go.
The foul happened prior to the expiration of the game clock. 4/10 will be remaining on the game clock.
Denise Brooks lets us know with 4/10 of a second to go, the teams will head back out onto the floor here. The foul on Monk, her first. And that will do it for the first quarter. Well, entertaining opening quarter here between Ole Miss and South Carolina, number one team in the country with a 2-point lead after one. Before we start the second quarter, let's take a moment to recognize again what Aliyah Boston continues to do, and that is rack up double-double. She did that in the first meeting between these two teams, going for 22 and 12. She's done it for 20 consecutive games, and has just been such a consistent force for South Carolina in this very consistent season for the Gamecocks.
Well, when you talk about consistency, let's talk about one quarter. She already has 5 points and 5 rebounds, and it's just what she does. She assumes every shot's a miss. She knows angles. She knows trajectory, and she's just been a beast on the glass throughout this season.
So Boston with the 5 points, 5 rebounds, 2 of those 5 rebounds on the offensive glass. A steal, a block, an assist. And at the end of one, it's 19-17. South Carolina on top of Ole Miss. Again, Mizzou with a victory over Florida, 78-73. So that slides Ole Miss into the number 4 spot, gives them the double bye. But just getting the feeling with Ole Miss, and I think we gave Ole Miss every opportunity to say, well, you know, it's the last game of the regular season. We're playing 4 games in 8 days. We got the tournament coming up. We're going to head to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2007. But the importance of playing better than they did against South Carolina in that first meeting in Columbia, but also you get the #1 team on your court to close out the regular season on senior day. That is a ton to play for.
Absolutely, and you want to be playing your best ball going into March. So I don't care that they have the 4th seed. I am not surprised at all that Ole Miss is putting it on the line here today, trying to get the upset.
Austin with the turnaround for her first 2. That was her first field goal attempt.
And Ole Miss off that miss, going to the 2-3 matchup zone. Coach O told us we've got to try to keep South Carolina off balance. We're going to keep mixing up our defenses.
Boston back to Rivers, who has struggled from outside the three-point line, and those struggles continue for the freshman. Now 1 for 25. Monk gets the pull-up.
2 heady plays. Starts with Madison Scott, knowing she can't get the offensive rebound, so she tips it down the floor. Monk doesn't try to challenge Boston, instead pulls up. Great offensive series for Ole Miss.
First 4 points of the quarter scored by the Rebels. Oh, double dribble by Rivers, and South Carolina struggling against this Ole Miss defense.
Well, I can't say enough about Madison Scott's tip out ahead to Monk, and love the fact that she just pulled up for the jumper instead of challenging the shot blocker in Aliyah Boston.
4 turnovers now for South Carolina. Entry to Austin, goes to work on Grissett. Rebound Henderson.
I mean, that's the luxury of South Carolina. Now Grissett is guarding Austin, and the key for Austin is she's got to be quick once she catches it, because South Carolina is going to come with that double team.
Henderson on the drive for 2. Destiny Henderson with 8 points and 2 assists here in the first half.
But it's so subtle, Eric. The way she extended the ball to get it up and over the outstretched arms of Austin to get the 2.
Tough shot for Monk. Rebound Boston to Henderson to Grissett, and that is beautiful. Fast break basketball for South Carolina.
A missed layup on one end will lead to a layup on the other end. Your point guard misses a layup. No one gets back. South Carolina capitalizes.
Grissett had 11 in 13 minutes of play against A&M on Thursday. Austin.
Eric, I know there's a lot that's been made about Austin's game, but what's really remarkable to me is the number she's putting up in just a short amount of time on the floor. Just so efficient when she gets the ball.
Off the missed three-pointer, here's Monk. Back out to Baker. I mentioned before that Angel Baker was did not score in 9 minutes in the first meeting with South Carolina. Scored 6 in the first quarter for Ole Miss here today. Baker spinning, has it knocked away, and then it's knocked out of bounds. 3 to shoot here for Ole Miss.
Henderson takes it from one side and uses her body and her outstretched arms to go over to score, and then Monk on the other side forces that layup up. No one's back on defense. We're set for the easy 2.
Only 3 on the shot clock for the inbounds, and South Carolina gets a stop, forces a turnover. That's number 4 for Ole Miss. They average 14 turnovers a game, but they force 19 a game. That's good for second in turnover margin in the conference.
And that was a key in that first game. South Carolina did a great job taking care of the ball. Only 4 points off those turnovers, but Bree Bill now bringing the offense as well.
Aren't you supposed to flex after a basket like that? Aren't you? Come on.
No, because it's Bill. It's just what she does there. Reverse spin move. Gets it up through the contact. And Eric, that's so hard. One, to find target on the reverse spin move, but you're trying to be physical up to have that touch. Just beautiful move by Bill.
Can't finish the three-point play. 2-point lead for the number 1 team in the country. Austin against Boston.
Don't you feel like that's the matchup everyone wants to see today? Is the 2 bigs going at one another?
Well, Henderson on the drive, but Scott brought the arm down and made the contact, so she gets called for the foul.
I agree with the call. I mean, it was clean up top, but as you said, Madison Scott brought the arm down.
Zia Cook back into the game for South Carolina, and here is Destiny Henderson. Now, free throw shooting hasn't been stellar for South Carolina at all this season. 66% as a team. That's 11th in the conference, 1 of 2 for Henderson. She has 9 to lead all scorers. Mimi Reed takes it at Henderson. Picked up by Cook. Cook 1 on 3 and a jump ball. Collins got the tie up.
Well, honestly, Ole Miss got really lucky for the tie-up because otherwise, with 3 players on the basketball, had Cook been able to get the ball to Boston, it should have been an easy 2. Ole Miss stays in that 2-3 matchup zone.
Beal will try the 3 and make the 3. Bree Beal with her 13th made 3 of the season. That's one way to take care of a team that's trying to defend you with the zone as Beal knocks it down to put Carolina on top by 6. Austin answers back. Taria Saxton looking to post up on the inside. Cleared out some space. Great help defensively by Scott. Baker's pull-up is good. Angel Baker certainly erasing the memory of the first meeting against South Carolina, already with 8 in the first half, and Ole Miss is within 2.
I'd love to see South Carolina get the ball to the high post against the zone and then look to go up and in. Or hit a 3.
For the 3-point shot, and they find it with Henderson.
The one thing right now, South Carolina is making the extra pass around the 3-point line, which is leaving the corner wide open.
And a timeout call by Ole Miss. Mimi Reed had picked up her dribble and had nowhere to go with it, so they take the timeout.
Madison Scott does more than score. She's the energizer player. There, the rim protector for Ole Miss. South Carolina up 5.
And we've got an entertaining one so far here in Oxford at the SJB Pavilion. Ole Miss 10-4 at home on the season and battling with the #1 team in the country so far. Ole Miss taking a timeout after the first quarter belonged to South Carolina by a 2-point edge. It's been tight here as we get ready to continue things with 4:42 to go in the second quarter. So far, Aliyah Boston 5 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist here in the first half. Ole Miss is shooting 43% from the field, but that's bettered by South Carolina shooting 50% from the field so far.
And Eric, I like the sets that Ole Miss has been running. One key for the guards, though, is can they utilize the on-ball screen? South Carolina's defense has been so good around the perimeter, not allowing the guards to get through the on-ball screen so far.
Boston hunts the rebound to pull it in for South Carolina.
And Ole Miss goes to man, mainly because Henderson's lighting them up right now, already 12 points in the game.
And you can see South Carolina 5 for their last 7 from the field. And then a foul is called on Aliyah Boston. That's her first. South Carolina has been #1 every week of the AP poll. Of course, their lone loss, conference opener against Missouri. What a huge win for Missouri today on the road in Gainesville. Florida has lost 3 in a row. Missouri really needed that. You talked earlier about Charlie Cream and crunch some of the numbers. That's going to really be a big boost for Mizzou's NCAA tournament hopes. Austin heating up here. Remember, she didn't take a shot in the first quarter, but here in the second quarter, she's got 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting.
Well, I love that Baker made the extra pass there to get Austin the ball. And Boston and Austin are going at it down the low post.
Henderson. Left open. Can't do that today or most days against Destiny Henderson, who now has 14. Her season average 11. What a first half for Henderson.
Well, and Eric, it's Henderson's experience there. The veteran point guard knows that Ole Miss didn't communicate, leaving her wide open. She knows what to do. She's got that much time to get the shot off.
Here's one of the interesting things, too, about this matchup between these two teams. It's Austin defending Boston on one end, but it's Saxton defending Austin on the other end, and there's the rebound for Victoria Saxton.
Well, as good as this Ole Miss team is, the one negative is they don't have quality post depth. And when you look at South Carolina, they've got post depth in spades.
There's Austin defending Boston, away from the basket. Monk, outstanding defender. Now to Saxton. Couldn't get it to drop, and the rebound for Madison Scott.
Yeah, I'd like to see Saxton just go up strong there. I think she's got the physicality advantage over Madison Scott, so go up strong.
Monk showing some of that speed and comes back and actually knocked it out of bounds as South Carolina was playing a little hot potato.
Monk, the two-time American Conference Defensive Player of the Year. She's not used to knocking it out. She's used to taking it.
Yeah, I think her hype woman was just in her ear right there. Her head coach.
So back to the 2-3. The last couple of possessions, South Carolina's been able to get wide open point looks.
Boston. 2 more.
And that's the growth of Aliyah. Boston doesn't force it when she first turns and catches, gathers herself, takes it up strong to the rim.
Monk can't get it. And a rebound to Zia Cook, and Cook with the push. Up ahead, beautiful feed to Henderson with the finish. Timeout, Ole Miss. That pass was a thing of beauty.
Cook is cooking, pushing tempo in transition, leads Henderson to the rim. No dribble needed for the easy two.
South Carolina stretches it out to a 9-point lead. 16 points for Destiny Henderson. SEC Tournament Week is here. Starts on Wednesday, first round games with our coverage starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thursday and Friday's games start at 1 Eastern, and the semifinals are Saturday on ESPNU. Championship games Sunday at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. So you'll see the early round games leading up to the semifinal on the SEC Network, as we're looking forward to heading to Nashville as things wrap up here today.
So Eric, you wondered what was at stake. I think when you watch both these head coaches, it's on full display. Both these head coaches want this W this afternoon.
So Ole Miss uses their second timeout to try to slow down this South Carolina run. All the momentum right now with Carolina. They've outscored Ole Miss 19-12 here in the second quarter. It's been a good quarter for Austin, and it's a great move by Shakira Austin out of the timeout.
And that's the excellence of Shakira Austin. Mimi Reed throws the ball behind her. Austin's able to grab it and still get to the rim to score before the double comes.
Oh, beautiful by Boston, answering against Austin on the other end.
I just want to petition both coaches. Let these two young ladies match up on both ends of the floor.
One minute to go here in the second quarter.
And we obviously have another half to go, but I feel like this last minute is critical for Ole Miss. They got to generate some positive momentum and not let this lead grow.
Baker, 7 on the shot clock. Into the hands of Austin with 3. With 2, launching the triple. And a timeout is called by South Carolina.
Well, this is the matchup we came to watch. Shakira Austin, a reverse spin move, and avoids the rotation of Aliyah Boston. Great touch at the rim, and then Boston, not to be outdone, sees the double team, dribbles out of it, and another beautiful example of tremendous footwork by Aliyah Boston.
So Ole Miss down to South Carolina, down by 9. Talk about the women's basketball tournament coming up this week. We're a week away from the start of the men's basketball tournament, so we got to get through the last day of the regular season, and that's this coming Saturday. Quadruple header coming up here on the SEC Network. It gets started with the number 3 team in the country, Auburn, hosting South Carolina. Our coverage starts at 1 Eastern, noon Central, here on the SEC Network and also on the ESPN app.
And Eric, you and I have grown accustomed to these late second quarter timeouts by Dawn Staley. And to me, that's just an example of how she wants the momentum going into half. It's also very teachable moments to work on plays to make sure there's good execution.
Ole Miss brings the pressure, and me here. Henderson. Grissett. Tough shot by Cook. Looks like Monk got a piece of, Scott rather got a piece of it, and no one is back for South Carolina, so Monk will take advantage. Henderson, plenty of time here, 5 seconds. Henderson, Cook, open 3, in and out. Ole Miss has to feel better about themselves after that sequence to close out the final minute of the first half.
You've got to be able to take advantage of miscues. South Carolina doesn't get back. Ole Miss makes them pay.
We've got a good one. South Carolina on top by 7 at halftime. Sunday Fun Day. Alyssa Andrea. We're back in Oxford, just about ready for the start of the third quarter. The number 1 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks on top of Ole Miss, 40-33. Eric Free, Christy Thomas Scuddy back courtside with you. 40-33 is a little bit different than the last time South Carolina came here to Oxford. The score at halftime of that game 2 years ago was 32-2. Shows you how far Ole Miss has come in a short period of time. And this was a very entertaining first half.
Well, how far they've come since the January meeting. They only had 16 total field goals in the first meeting, 15 already here at the half.
Let's take you through the first half highlights from a couple of key players. Destiny Henderson led the way in scoring for South Carolina.
She's just been slicing and dicing the Ole Miss defense up, just taking what they have given her and off of the hedges, off the off-ball screen. She's been fortuitous to try to get by the post players. And this is the play of the half for me for South Carolina. Josiah Cook zipping it up ahead to Henderson in transition for just 2 of her 16 first half points. Ole Miss has to find a way to slow down Henderson here in the second half.
16 points, 5 assists, 1 turnover for Destiny Henderson in that first half. Take a look at the first half numbers. Rebounding margin of +4 for South Carolina. They're number 1 in Division I in that category at almost a +18. A little bit of a run in that second quarter, answered back by Ole Miss right before the end of the first half, and Ole Miss will have the first possession of the second half in their home white. Shakira Austin had 10 points in the first half, all in the second quarter. Monk also with 10. Now on the switch, got Saxton in the air. Make it 12 for LaShonda Monk. You touched on it earlier with LaShonda Monk. You know, she came in here with that great defensive reputation, but you know, Yolette McPhee-McEwen has been talking about she can score. She's dynamic. She can make it happen, and she's made it happen here today.
Well, I'll go back to Coach O telling her, looking her in the face, saying, you have to hunt for your shots for us to have a chance today, and she's responded.
Well, there's another hunter. Destiny Henderson has been hunting for points. She's got 18. That's 1 shy of her season high. Austin rattles it home. Henderson used the fake to get free, and then it came down into her hands while she was out of bounds. So Ole Miss gets the stop, and it'll be Rebels basketball.
Hey, Destiny Henderson, as hot as you are, just fire up the three. Late closeout by Mimi Reed. I thought she was going to put it up.
South Carolina was 2 for 6 from outside the three-point line in that first half.
And Eric, South Carolina's defense is so scout-specific. Snowda Collins coming off 20 points at Auburn on Thursday, and then here they are chasing her off from every screen. Only 2 shots so far in the game.
How about that defensive play by Bree Beal? Stuck with it, got the stop. Henderson takes it at Austin, unable to score, and here's Mimi Reed. The kick, stepping into it, is Monk. Knew she had it.
Well, Monk's forte is that 15 to 17 foot, one dribble pull-up jumper. Smart move not to force the three. Puts it into her range and knocks it down.
Boston can't get it. Boston's got a rebound, and the door open here for Ole Miss to go on a bit of a run to start this quarter. Monk maybe trying to do too much with the dribble. Back the other way. And a good finish by Zaya Cook, who's in the double figures now with 10.
You don't have to play perfect against South Carolina, but you have to minimize your mistakes. 5 turnovers for Ole Miss. South Carolina has converted every one of those into field goals. 10 points off turnovers already.
Interesting moment there. LaShonda Monk was down on herself for turning it over. Her head coach, Coach Yo, was kind of walking up the court with her, just saying, "You're good, we're good, keep working."
Well, to be great, you've got to have a short memory. And we have seen LaShonda Monk has been really good today. Short memory, move on, next possession.
Shot clock at 2, rejected on the perimeter by Sexton, who threw it back to Henderson.
Not only gets the block, but maintains possession so South Carolina can get out and run.
Well, that would have been a beautiful finish by Henderson. Doesn't get it, and the foul is called on Saxton. That's 2 on Saxton. So LaShonda Monk will come out of the game. And Angel Baker is back on. Also, Madison Scott will check out. Here's Caitlin McGee in.
And Eric, it's subtle, but Ole Miss ran a squeeze on ball screen play. And what that means is they're trying to just pin the defender. No big deal to South Carolina because the versatility of their bigs. Saxton switches out and gets that last block.
Austin ran out of room as Boston shut the door, but staying with it on the glass is Caitlin McGee, who will have a chance at the free throw line.
Well, that's because Austin drew the double team. That allowed McGee to be wide open on the weak side to get that O board.
So Caitlin McGee will step to the free throw line, 47% on the season. Redshirt sophomore out of Jacksonville, playing 13 minutes a game. Ole Miss is a team right there with South Carolina at 66% from the free throw line. Foul was on Zaya Cook, her first personal. Ole Miss will bring the pressure off the made free throw.
You see Ole Miss trying to go over those on-ball screens.
Last touch by Ole Miss. It will stay with South Carolina.
And that's an area of improvement for Ole Miss. South Carolina scored a number of times on their out-of-bounds plays in the first matchup.
Oh, how about Bree Beal knocking down her second three-pointer?
Bree Beal, 2 of 3 here, just here this evening on this season, only shooting 26% from 3.
Answered back for 3 by Angel Baker. Double figures now for Baker with 11. Saxton, Boston. Rebound by Beal. Here comes Baker. Boston back. And a foul is going to be called on Mimi Reed. That's number 1 on Reed.
You think Baker wanted that pull-up jumper over Boston? A little bit of a heat check there.
Well, it was the wise decision. You're not going to take it past that point against Aliyah Boston.
I would have loved to see her just dribble it out a little bit, wait for a little bit of offensive help.
Similar to what we saw earlier in the game. Austin, as you mentioned, Christy, is going to come out. You see 5:22 on the clock, media timeout coming. She sat for a couple minutes last time. She had to work on both ends of the court. Aliyah Boston will now come out with Shakira Austin on the bench. So both teams go into some reserves here. Ole Miss sets up in that zone. Me here on the floor.
And you see South Carolina just looking to seal the middle, pulling out the forwards, the back line of that 2-3 matchup, allowing one-on-one in the low post.
Cook skipped it over to Beal. Me here. Turns inside. That's Sexton. Henderson. New season high for Destiny Henderson. She's got 20.
So your two bigs and your power forward all go to the glass. That leaves Henderson wide open to clean up the missed shot.
Deja Puckett on the floor for Ole Miss. Baker. There's Puckett with the offensive rebound. Determined to go right back up with it, and she is fouled, and she'll go to the line to shoot a couple. When we come back in a 6-point game, Christy.
Destiny Henderson picked up here where she left off in the first half. There, just cleans up the miss. Nice touch off the glass. South Carolina up 6 here in the third.
Ole Miss without one of their rotational pieces. Danetta Johnson suffered a season-ending knee injury February 22nd. Had played in 19 games this season, averaging 5 points a game. 27 starts last year, 11 this year. And it's so hard for her individually. In her third year of the program, the redshirt junior from Queens, who was honored in senior day ceremonies before the game. And also when you take a look at teams trying to adjust to injuries and personnel changes this late in the season heading into tournament time.
Well, I just felt like she was kind of that utility player for Ole Miss. Defended, had perimeter skills, was strong enough to defend bigger players. And Eric, she was one of the bright spots offensively in the January meeting between these two teams. So I was eager to see who filled the void of Danetta Johnson. So far, Ole Miss is answering the bell in a big way.
Deja Puckett at the free throw line, one of the 6 seniors honored before the game. Coach O said, "I will never forget this class." 2 players, Mimi Reed and Ianla Kitchens, were there from the beginning, and then a handful transferred in, including Puckett from Cincinnati. To turn things around, we mentioned the last time South Carolina was here 2 years ago. Ole Miss was in the middle of an 0-16 season in the SEC. They were scoreless in the first quarter against South Carolina in that meeting, had a 2-point second quarter, and trailed 32-2. That was just 2 years ago, and here they are battling the number 1 team in the country, but they do not have an answer for Destiny Henderson, who has matched her career high. She has 23.
Well, Eric, absolutely. Henderson's on fire. But back to your point about Ole Miss, what's different? 5 transfers. And it sounds so easy. Oh, coaches should just go to the portal. It's very difficult to develop chemistry and develop a winning culture. And Coach O has been able to accomplish that here this season.
Another block for Bree Beal, but then defense on the other end for Ole Miss, and now numbers for Ole Miss. They had the advantage. A 3-on-1, maybe a 4-on-1, but the catch was the one was Aliyah Boston.
I was like, do you really have the advantage if it's Aliyah Boston between you and the basket?
Monk. She's been answering what Henderson's done. 16 points for Monk. That's 7 points above her season average.
Monk is just fearless. I mean, you get the feeling she'd go in there against 6'6" post players every day because she just thinks offense right now. She's so confident on the offensive end of the floor for Ole Miss.
Boston back outside to Beal. Inside of 3 to go here in the quarter. Henderson found the opening, couldn't get it to go, and a foul is called on Madison Scott. South Carolina is now 5 for 15 from the field here in this quarter, so they have struggled to score, but they still have the lead by 5 as Austin's back in for Ole Miss.
Eric, the craziest stat to me is at halftime, there were 0 second chance points in the game. That's South Carolina without any second chance points already here in the third quarter, 5.
2 personal fouls now on Scott. Beal. And a foul called on Puckett will send Bree Beal to the free throw line.
Puckett's giving Ole Miss some quality minutes, able to give Madison Scott a break, but just no match for Beal off the bounce.
So as Bree Beal steps to the free throw line, I'll remind you that tonight at 8 Eastern time, there'll be a recap of this weekend's SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Arkansas, the defending men's and women's champs. You'll see it here on the SEC Network and also on the ESPN app. Bree Beal has 9 points. She has not scored in double figures this season. She matches her season high here in the regular season finale. Monk tries to get around Boston. And a traveling violation as Aliyah Boston stood her ground.
If Monk had had maybe a half-size shoe longer, she may be able to get away with that foot drag. But that's it yet again how Aliyah Boston impacts the game. Switches onto one of the fastest players on the court and keeps her in front of her.
6 turnovers for each team. You see an edge for South Carolina in the points off the turnovers. Boston got caught underneath, but Puckett got caught fouling her, knocking her down, and Aliyah Boston will head to the line.
Yeah, 2 possessions now where Puckett's just getting beat off the bounce. So Coach Yo goes to the bench, getting Madison Scott back in the game.
Boston 1 for 2 today, 78% on the season. And 1 point away from yet another double-double.
Dawn Staley has Lily Grissett at the table. I'm imagining she's going to sub in for Boston to get the press set with Lily Grissett at the top of it.
21st straight double-double for Aliyah Boston. 22nd this year. 52nd of her 3-year career, and Boston will check out as Grissett is back in, as Christy mentioned.
Eric, is it bad that I just assume she's going to do it? I mean, she's just such a beast on the glass.
You don't take it for granted, that's for sure. You're watching one of the very best.
Absolutely.
Scott has the advantage on Henderson. Can't take advantage on 2 attempts and then lost it out of bounds, and it'll be South Carolina basketball. Opportunity missed there for Ole Miss. Destiny Henderson with 23 points. She's 9 of 17 from the field, has 6 assists and 2 turnovers. Looking to add to it, but there's LaShonda Monk from out of nowhere to get the block and to hold on to it. And then Zia Cook answers right back. Henderson will slow things down. 1:20 to go here in the quarter.
Great job of Ole Miss there to get back in transition defense and force South Carolina into the half-court set.
Beal out to Grissett. 5 on the shot clock. Lily Grissett. Scott with the box out. And here comes Ole Miss, final minute of the third. Austin. Tough shot, won't drop. There's Scott taking away from Ami here, and this one will drop for Madison Scott.
Madison Scott tips the ball on the defensive rebound to make sure her team gets it, and then with the offensive rebound put back. Huge 2 possessions for Madison Scott.
Shot clock and game clock just about synced up, so Henderson will bring it out, and South Carolina will set up for the final shot of the third quarter. Down to 5. Down to 3. It's all Henderson. Henderson from the free throw line couldn't get it to drop off the window, and that will do it for the third quarter. Madison Scott came up empty on a prior trip, but stuck with it on this trip.
Uses her length, times that rebound so well, and keeps the defensive player on her back to power it up for 2. We got a good one, folks. Get comfortable. Here comes the fourth.
So we update the Aliyah Boston double-double tracker. Thanks to her performance today, 11 points, 10 rebounds, and she is ready to check back into the game because she's seated in the huddle for South Carolina. 21 straight double-doubles now for the junior.
Well, Eric, sometimes I think we take for granted just how good South Carolina has been, especially in SEC play, because all they have done is win. But I want to make sure that fans out there, including myself, appreciate what Aliyah Boston is doing right now. Because game in and game out, everybody knows that she's going to the glass, yet she continues to be a beast on the glass, as evidenced by these amazing consecutive double-double streaks she's on right now.
You know, something that Dawn Staley said a few weeks ago stuck with me when talking about Aliyah Boston. Dawn said Aliyah's figured it out. She has a counter for whatever teams try to do. If she gets tired, if her back is against the wall, she keeps fighting. We have seen that all season long.
And it's not like South Carolina has played a soft schedule. This is game in and game out that Aliyah Boston, and it's played some of her best ball against the best competition, against double teams. She passes out, doesn't force it. Against singles, if they go big, she steps out and knocks it down. If they go small, she posts them up. And against double teams, can take it up and score.
Hands it off to Zia Cook. Cook tried to save it, could not. And a turnover to start the quarter for South Carolina. That's their 7th. Ole Miss was down by 2 at the end of 1, by 7 at halftime. The deficit 6 as they bring the ball up the floor, their first possession of the fourth quarter. Baker can't get it. Boston tipped it to Henderson. And Grissett is back under the basket. Opportunity lost for South Carolina. Scott takes it at Boston.
Smart by Scott not to force the shot there.
Boston playing with just 1 personal foul.
Monk missed Austin. She did a slip on that on ball. Monk just realized it too late.
Off the miss by Monk. Henderson will jog it across half court. South Carolina looking to head into the SEC tournament on a 15-game winning streak. Zia Cook with a couple of turnovers here to start the fourth quarter. Tie-up will give it to Ole Miss. Now, South Carolina and Ole Miss, for that matter, they won't play until later in the week. They'll both make their debuts on Friday. So this is their last chance to try to play some clean basketball before a little bit of a break.
Well, for Ole Miss, this is their 4th game in 8 days. You got to believe they need a little bit of rest going into SEC play, or SEC tournament play, I should say.
Austin shut off by Grissett, who gets called for the foul.
So a couple of possessions ago, similar isolation for Austin. She goes right. This time, she can go left, and it's subtle. But this is a 6'5" post player that can break you down off the bounce either direction.
Well, Yolette McPhee-McEwen gave praise to the seniors like Mimi Reed and Iyanla Kitchens, who came in with her 4 years ago, but you cannot deny the impact that Shakira Austin in her second season with Ole Miss after 47 starts in her 2 years at Maryland, how it transformed this program and helped accelerate what Coach Yo was trying to do here in Oxford.
Absolutely. Eric, you hear me say all the time, winning is about a margin of error because you're not going to play perfectly. And as we talk about South Carolina, larger margin of error because of that bench, because of their skill set, because of their desire and discipline by one of the best in Aliyah Boston. But what Shakira Austin did for Ole Miss is open up that window of opportunity because of just how good she is and how much she impacts both ends of the floor.
Boston scores on the inside again for South Carolina to put the Gamecocks on top by 6. 13-12 for Boston. Now the three-point shot is not a big part of the Ole Miss offense. In fact, they are last in the SEC as Beal gets called for the block on the baseline. They are last in the SEC in threes made per game at just 3.
Aliyah Boston, just the epitome of powering it up, forces her way down the lane to get that shot off.
First personal on Beal. Austin for Reed. Austin off balance, but she can make those shots. Time and again we've seen she can make those shots. 16 now for Shakira Austin. It's a little louder here at the Pavilion. Brissett was fouled on the drive by Madison Scott.
Eric, we know Shakira Austin can score, but scoring almost by going down to your knees and still powering it up, she knows that was a big shot.
And she has played so well throughout her 2 years, but just in these last few games, she took over down the stretch against Vanderbilt on the road. That was a battle for Ole Miss against Vandy. She scored 11 of her 22 in the fourth quarter, had 15 rebounds in that game, and then followed that up with an 11-point, 16-rebound performance against Arkansas. So Shakira Austin keeping it going against the number 1 team in the country here today. 16 points and 6 rebounds. The foul on Scott, her third, and Brissett delivers at the free throw line.
And to your point, Eric, Shakira Austin plays her best games against ranked opponents, averaging 17 points a game against SEC ranked opponents. It's one thing to score buckets. It's another thing to score when you know your team needs it against the best competition.
Puck it back into the game. Collins is the three-point threat for Ole Miss if it comes down to it. Reed tried to get it to Puckett, and the ball bounced around, but it was determined that she was out of bounds, so it will be South Carolina basketball.
And Eric, to your point about the three, South Carolina's just been chasing Sonna Collins all over the court. They are not going to let this young lady get a good look for three.
Feed inside again to Aliyah Boston, using that strength to score 2 more. Austin. Reed will try the 3. And that's Bree Beal who comes in. She's had a very good game. We know what Beal does defensively, but she now has 7 rebounds to go with her 9 points.
And this is why South Carolina is so good. Players know what they're good at, and they excel in those roles. But Henderson's a great example. When they need her to step up even more, they're ready to do so.
Count the basket for Cook, and the foul was on Mimi Reed battling underneath the basket.
Well, it's crunch time right now for Ole Miss, and Mimi Reed knows she can't give up the O-board, so she just shoves Lily Grissett to the floor.
So that's second personal foul on Reed, but it keeps possession with South Carolina. They get the basket, and now they've got the basketball, and they're up by 10.
And this is a big defensive series for Ole Miss. They can't afford to go down any further.
Knocked out of bounds, last touched by Ole Miss. He'll stay with South Carolina. This is the largest lead of the game for the Gamecocks. Remember, just a moment ago, if Ole Miss gets a stop, they're bringing the ball down the court with a chance to bring it down to 4. There's Boston. Zia Cook knew she missed it, fouled the miss, but it's a rebound for Baker.
And this is where Ole Miss has had to start trying to score against half-court defense. They've got to push pace like they did so well in the first half.
Austin lost the handle, and it will be South Carolina basketball. And a timeout is called here by Ole Miss. Number 1 team in the country getting a little separation here on the road in the fourth quarter. Still a lot of time to go here in Oxford. All right, Alyssa, Andrea, thanks very much. Final day of the regular season. Missouri already with a road win at 15th ranked Florida. Haley Frank with 26 points in that win for Mizzou. Entered today in a 3-way tie for 8th place. Kentucky has won 5 in a row. As I just mentioned, it's the game after us, Christy. It's a 5-game winning streak after Kentucky had lost 8 of the previous 9 games. Dre Edwards has been outstanding. I know it's Ryan Howard Day with the crown going on there, but Dre Edwards has gone for 20 or more 4 times during the 5-game winning streak. So Kentucky making a late season push, and LSU, all they've done is won 7 in a row, getting ready for postseason play.
It's going to be an amazing week in Nashville. So if you're in the vicinity, even if you're not, you got time. Get your tickets.
Later on tonight on the SEC Network, 6 o'clock Eastern time, really a critical matchup between 2 teams desperate for a win. Arkansas and Mississippi State, they've both lost 4 in a row, both 6-9 in the conference. Both hopeful that they can help their NCAA tournament standing inside of 5 minutes to play. Tough shot, rebounded by Baker off the miss by Cook, who's looking for the foul.
Well, the way this game's been officiating, no player should be looking for a foul. Officials have let it get physical, going both ways. Take it up strong to score.
Shonda Monk directing traffic for Ole Miss. Rebels are 1 for 5 from the field here in this quarter. Baker, there's a reason why they're 1 for 6. They've been contested tough shots for Ole Miss. And here's Bree Beal. Great finish by Bree Beal, who is into double figures for the first time this year.
Well, Ole Miss got into the action of their offense 8 seconds ago on the shot clock. Take South Carolina on the other end. They're not waiting for half-court offense. They're getting in and going. And as I say that, Henderson, being the epitome of a point guard, looks to her head coach to get the call.
Monk comes up short on the shot. Ole Miss, a couple players grabbing the bottom of their jerseys, looking fatigued here. South Carolina looking to deliver the knockout punch here against Ole Miss. Henderson to Boston. Handed off to Beal. Beal couldn't get it, and that's going to be a foul called. I think it was on Monk trying to box out.
They got it on Collins.
Oh, Collins. Thanks, Christy. So Collins gets called for the foul, and that will get us to our 5-minute media timeout. It comes with 3:30 to go in the fourth quarter. South Carolina with their largest lead of the game. Gary Blair leading his Texas A&M team to Nashville for the SEC tournament. They will be in that opening day on Wednesday, needing to make an unforgettable run in the SEC tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. But it has happened before. Remember, Arkansas a couple years ago came back from being a low-seeded team and played their way. One of their wins was against South Carolina into the championship game against Mississippi State.
Well, it's been a disappointing year if you're a Texas A&M fan, but I just hope we can take the time to truly appreciate Gary Blair, what he's done for our game, just the greatness of Gary Blair. His coaching tree just continues to blossom, and I'm appreciative of everything that man has done for our game.
Henderson works the offense for South Carolina. An 8-0 run here for the Gamecocks. Henderson can't get it to drop, and it's Austin fighting for the rebound. Getting on the floor is Bree Beal, and a jump ball, possession arrow. Will give it to South Carolina. Henderson to trigger the inbound for the Gamecocks, who will play on Friday against the winner of the 8-9 game in Nashville. This is trying to determine if possession had changed. They have 19 on the clock right now.
Well, no, I appreciate Dawn Staley's argument right now because they didn't give her the timeout saying they didn't have possession, yet they took the second off the shot clock saying they did have possession.
It's a fair point.
I don't think you get gold medals and all those rings that Dawn Staley has without having a couple of good points.
And I literally thought your reflexes and your reaction time had eroded with age, but I could not be more wrong about that. You are still on top of it with the hands there.
Well, you can't talk about the great Dawn Staley and then have a turnover on the catch.
That's true. That is Grissett fighting inside for 2 more.
And Eric, we were talking about during the break, only 6 bench points for South Carolina today, but I cannot put a price tag on how invaluable they've been. Just there's a wear and tear effect. You can tell right now in Ole Miss. They've looked fatigued here this last couple of minutes.
Controlling things on the boards, too, as South Carolina has worn them down on the glass, rebounding this quarter alone, a 10-3 edge for South Carolina over Ole Miss. Boston just picked up the personal foul. That's her second. 15 points, 14 rebounds for Aliyah Boston. And Victoria Saxton with the rebound. Another rebound for South Carolina. They're now a +10 in rebound margin.
And South Carolina is going to work this shot clock each and every time down right now with a double-digit lead. Somehow Ole Miss needs to get up and force her turnover. They can't just sit back and allow South Carolina to milk the clock.
Grissett on the drive, found the opening for 2.
Body blow, body blow, body blow throughout the game, and then you just see the veterans of South Carolina start to deliver the knockout punch.
8 points for Lily Grissett following up that 11-point game against A&M on Thursday. Into the hands of Austin, and South Carolina is giving her plenty of attention, and they give her some contact. Foul call.
Lily Grissett moved to the guard position last year, and you're seeing that skill set on full array there. She just takes it baseline and beautiful reverse layup.
Here comes Destiny Henderson off the bench. Zia Cook off the floor, rather, to the bench. Fantastic performance. Remember, don't forget, Zia Cook really got things going for South Carolina at the start of the game. Had 8 points in the first half. Cook with 12, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And what can you say about Destiny Henderson matching her career high with 23 points, 8 assists, 2 turnovers for Henderson here this afternoon.
Decision making was so good by Henderson throughout this game. And let's not forget just how much at times against a good defensive team like an Ole Miss, you've got to rely on your point guard, and Henderson just was spectacular today for South Carolina.
So the free throws snap a 12-0 run for South Carolina. Remember, the game was a little in doubt. Even though South Carolina has led throughout this game, they pushed it to a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss got it to 4, 57-53 with 7:15 to go as a foul is called on Ole Miss. But after Ole Miss got it to 4, South Carolina did what South Carolina does, and that's go on a run and pull away here in the fourth.
And this is where, once again, you have to respect Dawn Staley. She's got long-term plans for this team. What is she doing right now? 14-point lead. She's getting freshmen in. She knows that this game-time experience is so valuable for them come March.
Sanaya Rivers and Bree Hall both in the game. Off the miss. Believe the 2 misses guarantee some sort of chicken sandwich for the crowd. That's why the celebration was on. Here's Austin. Austin now with 20 to go along with her 7 rebounds. Monk with 16. 1 minute to go here in the fourth quarter. And Rivers had it deflected. Back off to Beal. Ole Miss extending the defense. On the turnaround, Saxton, no. And a rebound for Monk. And a timeout is called by Ole Miss just to make a substitution as Puckett will come out, and she will place Shakira Austin, who should get a great round of applause from the crowd here. So Shakira Austin has played her final game here in Oxford, but it is far from the final game for Ole Miss. They will be in the SEC tournament starting on Friday. One of the top 4 teams in the tournament, earning that coveted double bye. LaShonda Monk is down. Monk is down next to the basket support. And this is a great sign as she wants to be helped up quickly. Maybe she'll pause for a moment. Let's see what happened. See perhaps her starting to grimace on the way up as she's grabbing down at that left leg. LaShonda Monk has been such a valuable piece for this Ole Miss team, coming over from ECU, where she was the American Defensive Player of the Year. Twice. Has set the tone defensively for this Ole Miss team that prides itself on how they play defense. 16 points offensively today for Monk, and now ready to get up. They will bypass the bench and head to the trainer's table, or at least to a chair back out of view.
Eric, you can't say enough about her impact on this program. We've seen the scoring, but just that defensive tenacity and just spunkiness. The grit that she plays with has been huge for the Rebels this season.
Taken away by Hall, who goes in for 2. One of those freshmen getting some time here down the stretch. Bree Hall has actually played quite a bit, averaging 10 minutes a game for the #1 team in the country, who will win again by double digits. 71-57, a hug in midcourt. Dawn and Yolette. I mean, you think about the last 5 meetings before this one. The margins, 29 points, 25 points, 55 points, 34 points, 26 points. It is double digits. But this is a different Ole Miss team, and they have earned a top 4 seed. Despite the loss here today, they're one of the top 4 teams in the SEC heading into the tournament.
You can't say enough about the turnaround under Coach Joe's tutelage. This team is a team that I would be really worried to go against come tournament time.
South Carolina wins again, 71-57. Back to the studio.